Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate y'all coming today. I've had some interesting reading this morning. Just want to, I had not read the President's executive order, and I just, you know, guys, I just can't help think if we want clear and we want free and fair elections and everybody to vote who legally vote, how much mail-in voting was pushed. I remember patients telling me so many times that on different occasions they would receive 5 or 6 ballots in the mail from their neighbors or for somebody else. And we were in testimony a few weeks ago. One of the gentlemen noted that Secretary of State of Michigan did not want to remove 25,000 dead people on a roll. To push out mail-in voting, I think it's great for our folks that can't get out. But to push it out, I see no other method that is so ripe for the potential of fraud than mail-in voting. I have to make that comment. I know my Democratic colleagues see very much differently, and the President sure is pushing that. But I just, you know, it just seems like an absolute recipe for attempted fraud in that manner. So, Ms. McCormick, I'm very interested. You know, everybody's talking about cybersecurity. Can you give me an example of what's being done? And what we found in the past as attempts to infiltrate our election process?
Thank you for the question, Dr. Murphy. We had found, CISA had found in 2016 election that some nation-state actors had tried to utilize online voter registration systems and other election supporting technology to intrude into the election system. They were not successful. But we have
I just ask, I need specifics on that when they get in the system. Do they mean actually go in and change ballots? Do they mean, what do you really actually technically mean?
It was not changing ballots, sir. It was getting information from the voting registration systems. We don't have the details of that. That is something you would have to ask CISA about. They have not shared that information, nor has the FBI with us. Okay. But we do take the security of our systems very, very seriously. And we just recently passed an updated version of the VVSG 2.0 that has many increased requirements for security, and I can give you some of those.
All right, well, let me just continue. Thank you. Okay. You know, with the great Russian hoax that one of our colleagues persisted with a lot of the, one of the former president candidates, I don't think we have to hopefully worry too much about Russia. I think China is right now our greatest enemy, and I fear for what they would do. We have a president that's very pro-China, and I'm very fearful in that regard. Let me just go back to this executive order. Did you or anybody in your office consult with the White House about this executive order, or did it just come out from somebody in a cubicle with their grand ideas?
I'm not aware of anyone in our office coordinating with the White House on that order. We were not tasked under that order to do anything. You know,
so you're not in charge of implementing anything with that executive order?
We are not. We had a couple of federal agencies ask us for assistance. The National Institute of Standards and Technology asked us for information on and a white paper on disability, as they were tasked to look into disability issues with regard to that order. And I believe GSA also asked us for some advice. But we did not do anything other than what we already do. Okay. To reply to that order.
All right, thank you. You know, there's been a lot of dark money or whatever, a lot of political influence from people who have a lot of money in this country. Mr. Hovland, can you expound upon your support? You had voiced support for Mark Zuckerberg's private funding of election administration. Why do you think he has the great, just since he's one of the richest men in the world, why he should be determining our election outcomes?
Thank you for the question, Congressman. I don't believe that he has had any determination in the outcomes. And what I testified to House Appropriations in 2021 was that I thought it was unfortunate that our election officials had to be dependent on the charity of billionaires, that I feel that it is a failure of government to not provide adequate funding for elections. I think philanthropic dollars have gone to do a lot of great things, but as far as funding elections, I think that is a responsibility of government. And I think it's critical that we provide adequate funding so that
you don't feel the actions of Zuckerberg are really a good patriotic thing? That's what I'm hearing you say.
From interviewing election officials who received that money, I know so much of it went to get PPE, to have protective equipment, to have hand
And you can
sanitizer,
understand,
to be
you can
able
understand the
to.
appearance of such, that it's influence, and we know of all those things happening. You know, I don't agree with the Supreme Court decision many years ago that allowed all this extra money to come in. I absolutely think it was the wrong thing to do. We just want free and fair elections across this country. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll yield back.